Welcome back to Unemployed with Anna Roisman. You know, I'm unemployed, but I'm making TikTok my full-time job, guys. You watch out, okay? This was my Monday, although the whole world was off. It's a holiday, even though it's not going to be a holiday when you listen to this. But I'm so excited for today's episode. Oh, he's a friend. He's so funny. He's a comedian. He's a writer. You see him perform all over New York City, or maybe you know him from little place like New York Magazine, New York Times, Time Out, Vulture. And guess what? He has a book coming out this spring, but it's too long of a title for me to say, so I'm going to let him tell us about the book. But we've got Zach Zimmerman on the pod. Hello.
Hello. How are
Hi.
you? Thank you for having me.
I'm great. Thank you for doing it. You know, it was touch and go there for a while, Zach. It really was. But I'm so happy that you're here, that you gave me the hour.
An honor. An hour? No, I'm just kidding.
This shit. Okay, we'll go like 20 minutes. Don't worry.
No, I'm just kidding. Anna's referencing that initially I said, no, let's wait till the book comes out and then I'll come on. And then I was like, no, let's do it now. Because while I was writing the book, I went on a podcast cleanse, just like an easy way to say no to everyone.
Sure.
So I could focus on it. And then as I did one and I was like, oh, wait, these are fun. Or it's like actually nice to talk to other people and not be like a little hermit that I was during the bulk of the pandemic.
I was going to say, if you have a book coming out, I think it's also fun when like other people's fans will listen to you and then they'll be like, oh, Zach, I'll follow him. Oh, that book that he's doing.
True. And it's helped me like learn how to talk about it too. Cause it can be hard to, when you're inside of a thing, to know how to sell it or like talk about it in a
totally. I mean, I don't know
way.
that my podcast would make your press tour. So I'm just glad I'm getting in early. You know what I mean? I know he's going around, but tell me the title of the book. Cause you wouldn't before. You said it's very long. You know,
I wouldn't. Well, I didn't trust you. I didn't think you could remember. It's very long. It's okay. Is it hot in here, or am I suffering for all eternity for the sins I committed on earth? And to ask you
Amen.
to remember that, I feel like that's cruel. I feel like that's
I do have a computer. I could have just typed it out. You know what I mean? But I wanted to hear it from your mouth. You know what I mean? You titled it. It sounded beautiful. Say it one more time for me. Is
it hot in here, or am I suffering for all eternity for the sins I committed on earth?
Oh, you call it a title. I call it a fucking poem. Okay. That's beautiful. Tell me that it's just empty pages inside for people to write,
it's mostly empty pages.
How they relate.
There are actually blank essays, a few strategically, but it's mostly stories and humor pieces about hell, literal hell, and the hells of love and work and religion and family and politics.
Wow.
All the good stuff.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited for you. I can't wait to see how I'm going to go to hell. Like I feel like that's going to happen.
It could happen sooner than you think. You never know.
It could. Although, can I be really dark for a second? I was like on a Bob Saget hole last week, and like there was like a clip that like popped up, like, once you go down the YouTube hole, and it was like him on his podcast, and like he was talking to his wife about like, you're gonna find me dead, and I was like, oh God, no, and I'm like, turn it off, no. It was really sad.
My heavens.
Anyway.
I was doing a show the night he passed away, and it was a very small crowd, and it was not going well. And I was just doing a Q&A with the audience, and someone asked, like, did I ever meet Bob Saget? And I said, only later tonight in heaven.
Aww.
Which got a nice little response.
That? Aww.
I
like
the set's
it.
Not going well. You're gonna go to heaven tonight.
I did meet him once, and he was everything people said, he was the nicest, kindest man. And like, he's just like, he was an all around dad. He was with his daughters. He has 3 daughters, just like he did in Full House. And like,
oh,
yeah,
those are the things that stick with me, where I'm like, oh my God, I hope people say that shit about me. Like, how can I be living my life in a better way now? Like when I die, I don't want Anna to be like, he didn't come on my podcast. Like I want Anna to be like, he came on my podcast. Oh. So nice. So wonderful.
Well, when you said the spring, I was like, I hope we're doing, I don't know what we'll be doing then, because you are like episode 90, I want to say, something like that.
Incredible. What an achievement.
Thank you. But, I'm only Ellen and I are only so old, we can only do this for so long.
But there's more unemployed people now, so that helps.
There are. It's fucked up. But you're not unemployed. Well, how do you describe your employment status when,
It is tricky because I'm not staffed in a salaried way. I'm sort of piecing together independent contractor from drink tickets for stand-up shows
Sure.
to, I mean, the book, I was paid to write the book, a
Great.
very modest sum.
Yeah. So you'd say
But
you're
yeah,
a
I'm not,
working writer and comedian, which is
that's a good way to put it. People do when you
Mhm.
say you're a comedian, they're like, "Oh, is that your like full-time thing?" And it's always a striking question because like, "Oh, are you like sizing me up? Like
Mhm.
you want to know what else is happening?" Or because yeah, full time, I'm not like going into an office from 9 to 5, but I am going to a comedy club from 8 to 10 or from 9 to midnight. And I am going to my like writing space. But yeah, maybe that's a better. I'm a working writer and
There you go.
comedian.
Yeah. I know.
That
I
feels
always
empowering.
it is you should as it should. I always feel weird when people are like, "What is your?" I'm like, "I'm a full time comedian," but that means so many things
Yes,
today,
yes,
right? I mean, like, I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't had to go back to like a survival job, but
yeah.
am I surviving? The question comes up often.
The question comes up often. Are you thriving? Are you surviving?
Yeah. So, were you writing the book for most of the pandemic? Was that
Yes, it
your
was definitely a
project?
pandemic project. I've always wanted to write something substantial in prose, and then the pandemic felt like a moment for it. I lived by myself and was lucky that the people close to me weren't uh, suffering heavily, and so after sort of the psychological stuff, I got into like a groove of really putting myself into writing and kind of, I guess, escaping into the past to
Mm-hmm.
think about um, the different stories that I wanted to tell. And then, yeah, write, edit, um, and then trick a publisher into caring about it. And
I was gonna
then you
say,
have a
did you
book.
have the book deal before or after you like mostly wrote it?
After, which I do
Okay.
not recommend. It
Mm-hmm.
would have been much more. I worked on a proposal, and then there was sort of back and forth with my agent through the pandemic. So I was just like, let me just go ahead and write this. Like, if I'm going to write it, I'll go write it. And so my proposal ended up being like most of the book,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then we only needed a few more months to like edit. And I worked
Mm-hmm.
with an amazing editor at Chronicle Books, and she cut so many things and held me to a really high standard. And so I'm excited. The title's long, but the book is short, and everything is hopefully this little polished nugget that'll make people laugh and think.
I
Um,
love it. I'm going to pick your brain one of these days off air, not on the podcast, because I really, really want to publish a book. And
Hell yeah.
I want to publish, it's going to be comedy/soup recipes. So it's not going to be a traditional
Oh,
cookbook,
lovely.
but I do a lot of soup content. I don't know if you're aware. I'm
Chicken soup for the comedian's soul.
something along those lines. Yeah. Yeah. But there will be recipes. It will be like a book you can use to cook
I know
soups.
cookbook is like its own space, and I have some
It
friends who
is.
put out a cookbook, so I can
Really?
connect you off air to them.
Wow. See, I'm so glad you came out. Look at this. Now
You're welcome.
I'm
But
networking on
also,
the pod.
also
What?
books, terrible way to make money. Fastest way to be very unemployed.
Yes.
It's terrible way to make. I think like 3 people a year do well with books.
Sure.
It's like not profitable in any way.
Yeah, there's a ton of people who put out books, and then there's like 5 who are like, wow, 12 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list
Yes,
or whatever it is.
yes.
And you're like, okay, cool. Congrats, Barack
That
Obama. Like you did.
that's my new stress because the book doesn't come out till November 1st. So I'm like, okay, I have 10 months to like worry about how well this is going to do, or
Oh,
like
no.
make sure I put the right effort into promoting it, but not too much. And also like thinking about what success for it looks like. Like I should just be happy if like 10 queer kids feel seen and laugh, but instead, you want your best
Do
time,
it.
your
Set the
best
bar
time
very low for
bestseller.
yourself. I
Yeah,
always do that. Set your expectations low because it's going to do great. You're so funny. Your stories are funny. I can't imagine anyone who picks up your book won't love it. Like I really can't.
oh,
I remember seeing you do comedy for the first time. I think it was like a Union Hall show we were on or something, or like maybe it was like a Jenny Gorlick show, something like years before. I don't want to say years ago, but a couple of years before the pandemic. I don't know, before the pandemic. And you were just, he is joke, 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 joke. I mean, you were just so
Oh,
smooth. And like, I'm excited to see your videos now, and you're doing the cellar, and it's fun to see how you've blossomed, you know?
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I like that's the highest praise I think I can get. Like, Zach, you've grown. Like, I hope I never stop growing in terms
Yeah.
of, like, I hope I'm embarrassed by this book in 5 years. Like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Put that out there. Like, I hope I get better and better and better until my brain stops working.
Love it. I love that. That's a good goal. See, that's the only expectation you need. You hope you hate it in 5 years.
Right? Yes. Or I guess to that end, I hope people engage with it in a meaningful way to help me grow.
Hmm.
Like, tell me what they liked, tell me what they didn't like, so I can hone what I was saying next time in a better
Yeah.
way.
I love
I
that.
hope
That's a good
I
goal
hope
for
I
me
grow.
too.
I
I
hope
hope
you
I grow
grow.
too. Thank you. Well, you were on my couch once doing Unemployed show, and now here we are. I'm at a desk, so I have grown to a
And
desk.
I'm in my a studio apartment instead of
Love it.
sharing a home with three other people in one bathroom. So that feels
There
like
you
a
go.
sort of growth, maybe.
I love it. You've grown. Yeah. All right. So tell me, we're going to take it back. I want to go back to like teenage Zach. I want to know, I mean, I know some of this, but tell the people, where did you grow up, and what was like, what did you want to be when you grew up? Did you have, did you know?
I grew up in Roanoke, Virginia, and I think I was drawn to the stage, and so I always wanted to be some sort of performer or actor. And in high school, definitely loved the high school drama department. And so, yeah, live performing and writing was always a big part of things. I like
Mm-hmm.
my first love affair. I like dramatized in a novel where my character was named Dimitri, and I just copy pasted my AIM messages with the person I was in love with in order to like tell this epic. I hope I find it one day. But I've always had this urge to like turn my life into stories and to be under a spotlight. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of like paid work, the first job, can you guess? It's a chain.
Oh, I was going to say babysitter. It's a chain. Um, if I could pick any chain, I'd say Taco Bell, but I don't know that it.
Wow. The first letter is right. I was a Target team member at 15.
Oh, at 15.
At 15, hired to work seasonal Christmas demand. My first week was the week of Black Friday.
Like on the
Uh,
floor at Target, Black Friday.
Cashier, guest services team member, which meant on the Friday of Black Friday, they sent me out to collect carts, which I was very humbled by. And even a year
Wow.
later, when I had been cross trained on everything, I loved guest services. I loved
Okay.
like returns. I loved
Mm-hmm.
enforcing like arbitrary rules and like scanning receipts. And so I thought I would get to do that on Black Friday, but then they just sent me out for carts because I was like a young, like able-bodied person, and all the guest services team members were, I guess, the like bougie women got to work guest services. But I was
Bullshit.
so mad. I
You
know.
would have been so good at it too. I
So
bet they
good.
wouldn't give you such a hard time too. They're like, look at this nice young
I
guy. Like,
know. I don't. They'd be like, I won't yell at them because they're.
right?
But yeah, and I made so little money at that job. It's like
Mm.
insulting to think of it now. I think it was 5.25 an hour. Was the
5.25.
wage. Yeah, it sounds like illegal, or maybe that just makes me sound really old. Like, it was 1941 and we made $5 an hour. But I was angry at Target because I was doing phenomenal work at the registers, and I was getting paid the same amount as other people. So I was like, I need to
Mm.
find another job, and that's what brought me to briefly to Papa John's um,
Oh,
for a brief moment. So Taco Bell
that was
wasn't
on
that
my
far off.
list.
That was on your list,
I love Papa
and
John's.
I loved it too. And I was fired within a week, which is a very humbling experience
What
because of
happened?
my passions. So I got the schedule went up, and I was scheduled to work on Saturday, and I went to the manager and I was like, hey, I'm in a play and it opens on Saturday. Like, I can't do this shift. And she said, if you can't work Saturday, never come in again. And
Whoa.
I was like, damn, babe. And
What the
so
fuck?
I was
You're
let
a
go.
young actor
I
growing your
know.
career. This is
Yes.
this is a gig. Come on. I
I
don't like
thought she
that.
would be like, "Oh, I'm supportive," but it was like, "No, zero tolerance. If you couldn't work the weekends, why are you here? Get out of here,
Mm.
kid."
Mm.
And that brought me to the most formative childhood job that I had, or part-time high school job, which was server at Denny's. I knew at
Nice.
Denny's I would get tipped based on my performance. I could leave. I could earn my keep, and I was still under 18, so I couldn't work anywhere that served alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a Denny's server, mostly working the late night shift, 10 p.m.
Wow.
to 6 a.m. Fridays and Saturdays throughout high school.
Oh my God. So
Instead of
you had
friends, I had
uh,
customers.
you had customer. I love how you were like, but based on my performance, like it was still a show for you. Like you knew if I charm these people, I'm gonna get
Oh,
more money.
100%.
Yeah. But and then a theater actor in high school is like a full-time job. I'm not going to lie. Like I took it, right? Like didn't you, it was like everything to
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Cause it's like, fuck math. Like I care about the play I'm in right now, but I love that
Oh,
you
I was
worked
good at math too.
overnights. I bet you were. You're smart.
I mean, I was straight A's and in the plays. And you want to know something real nerdy?
And at
The,
Denny's.
the plays, you got credit. You could get like class credit for it, but that wasn't weighted the
Okay.
way my other class, like, for like an A is 4.
Mm-hmm.
If you're taking like an advanced class, an A was a 5.
Right.
But the play, you could take it as a class and get an A, but it would be a 4. So that would actually hurt my GPA. So I just did the play and didn't take the credit.
You didn't take this up with the school board and, discuss that this is
That what is
actually,
hurting my I just turned the credit down. I just did it for the
wow.
art. None
Wow.
of the and that's what kept that GPA nice and high to score that valedictorian slot.
Wow. So you were valedictorian.
I was valedictorian
God
of
damn
a
right you
of a
were.
poorly performing public high school in Southern Virginia.
But you were the fucking valedictorian. Where did you go to college?
I got into Princeton. They somehow let me in,
They
and then
let you
it
in.
was not the valedictorian of Princeton by
Oh
any
no.
stretch. But I
Because
did get to
everyone's
give
the
a funny
valedictorian who goes to
speech.
Princeton, right?
I know.
It's like going to
I
UCB and everyone's the fucking, lead in the school play,
funniest,
and then they go
yes.
in and they're like, oh wait, you're all good at this. Okay.
I also internalized. Someone told me like, oh, when you get to Princeton, you're not gonna get straight A's anymore. And I like really internalized that and let go of that as like an ambition, and maybe didn't work as hard. But I also was doing identity stuff. I was learning about alcohol and drugs and sex and religious trauma. So I wasn't, coming in fully formed.
Okay.
I did a lot of growing there, and so maybe it's okay that I didn't
I
have a
think it's
4.0 GPA.
1000%. You worked so hard to get there.
Right.
What did Zach have he was like, I'm so sorry. I got a B this semester. Like
I got a B.
can you believe this? I went on academic probation. I was pretty good in high school. And then I was like, fuck it. I'm going to find myself. And I found myself in the theater and didn't go to class. So I went like from like A's to like F's in college, which was
I like respect that more though, because like I'm not using any of what I learned other than the friends I made. Like
Mhm.
I did not learn how to be an artist in college. I learned how to like bullshit 10-page essays.
Right. Yeah. At 4 a.m. when it's due at like 9
Yes,
a.m. and you're like
yes,
kind of hungover and you're like, well,
yes.
this is art. I could do this. What was
This is
were you an
art.
acting major?
I studied. You couldn't major in theater, thank God. You could only
Okay.
minor in it. So I studied. I was going to do math actually, but then the teachers weren't as nurturing as they were in high school. So I wound up in religious studies,
Love
like American religious history vibes.
it. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which ended up the only other people doing that major were like the children of very wealthy people, and so. But I bought the lie that you can like study whatever interests you. You don't need to like be studying something for a career. And so yeah, then I have a religion and theater major, which I joke was a double major in lies. Is what I was focusing on.
Yeah, I love it. And you do a lot of religion comedy, I would say.
That's
so,
true.
it has
I've always
served you.
been, yeah, I'm interested in like how people construct meaning in their lives and how different religious traditions like help you navigate the world.
Yeah.
Um,
What
for
did you
sure.
go by? You had a name when I first saw you on stage.
Oh, yes. I think you saw my Christian magician character.
Ah, I did. Yes, you did this character. Yes.
His name is Luke Babylon. He uses close-up miracles to educate people about his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And I thought when I first moved to New York, I thought he was like my ticket to the big time. And I like did an hour-long magic show as Luke and
Oh,
at
I
the
love it.
duplex, and I was doing him around town. And then he's faded away a little, but I found a way to include him in my stand-up in like a cute way too. So I still
Oh,
remember him,
nice.
and one day maybe we'll revive him. But
I
um,
remember that character. I think that's why when I booked you on
I
like Unemployed show on my couch, I was like he does magic and he's funny and he has his whole character and I loved it. I loved it. So
aw,
yeah, he
think I
sold
remember
me.
that show. Was it you and Dave Mazzoni as like judges on something?
I think Dave was on. I don't remember what we did. It's on Facebook somewhere, the footage
Buried in the depths.
exists.
Remember when we used to make Facebook events? I remember
Mm-hmm.
like 90% of my life being making Facebook events
Oh my
and like
God.
feeling
Yeah.
bad for spamming all my friends. And now I can't tell you the last time I made one. Maybe I should bring it back. Maybe that's
Honestly,
the edge
yeah.
right now.
I miss
Facebook
Facebook
events.
events. I liked those. And we would like panic, like who said yeah, like you get a notification, like someone's
Yes.
coming to your show and you're like,
What are
ah,
people using now? No one, there's no Twitter events. There's no
no,
TikTok events. Nobody
there's
knows who's
not.
going
Now
to
you have
what.
to be your own fucking PR and just post
Yes.
about it nonstop. Like,
Yes.
here's where to find me rather
And
than,
you can't see who else is coming. There's
Mhm.
no, where's Mark Zuckerberg when we
Right?
need him the most? Come back to, well, it's probably still there. We're just not using it.
I had a friend who emailed recently about a birthday party, which is fine. I'll check my
That's
email,
what.
but I didn't like that it was BCC'd because then what if I ask a
Oh,
friend, "Are you going to this birthday?" and they're like, "I wasn't invited." Like just let me know who's on the
but
list,
that's what I
right?
did because you don't want to spam or you don't want to give away your peer emails to
Email
people.
addresses.
Or if you
Yeah,
invited like 100 people, or
I
open yourself
guess
up to a reply all situation.
it's
The
true.
the default now is a BCC'd email where you say like all are welcome
Yes.
to cover your
Yes.
ass, or make a little graphic and like text it to everybody, or like DM it to a bunch of people.
Yeah. I like that.
But also, this past year was I think my last year of doing any sort of like birthday gathering because I realized I didn't have. I feel like I was working an event because I was like trying to make sure everybody ate the pizza that I bought and the donuts that I bought. And I was like, I just want to like get coffee with like 2 people or like have a piece of cake with like 5 friends.
Yeah. I think
So maybe
everyone's birthday was weird in the last 2 years because
that's true.
you couldn't just say like show up to a bar. I mean, like I guess you could if you're, if COVID doesn't affect you and which is some people, but like people wanted to be safe and do something, so you had to like plan extra hard and you're like, we're going to be at a park and we're going
Mm-hmm.
to do this and here's where we're going to be, and I don't know. Yeah, it was too much. I kind of miss the old school, like it's my birthday, show up or don't show up,
You're right. Hopefully it's
That's
coming
it.
back.
Yeah, yeah. When's your birthday?
July 15th.
Ah, I'm June
So I did a park.
15th.
Not a Cancer.
Gemini.
Gemini.
Does
You
that change your views
two-faced
of me?
bitch.
Yeah, I know. As soon as Ellen's a Gemini too, so watch out. We're
You
both
well,
fucking.
we got 2. We got 4 faces on the call.
I'm so
Plus mine,
sorry.
5 faces.
Yeah, let's. Any minute now, I'm gonna I turn. So we gotta keep. We gotta keep rolling. It's all I gotta say. My dog is trying to like. I see. He has this piece of fur he needs. But I'm not getting it for him because he's a fucking priss. Anyway, all right. So back to okay. So you got into Princeton. You moved to New Jersey. Did you work during college or was it solely focusing on studies?
I was work study, so they gave me a nice
Okay.
need-based financial grant, and then I was assigned to like work in the dining hall. And luckily, I'm such a saver. All my money from Target and Denny's like gave me a little nest egg where I didn't like need to work in college, and I
Yeah.
really didn't want. I wanted to be able to like focus on my work, and so without knowing, by being a little hardworking hoarder in high school, I didn't know what I was working for, but I was saving money for something, and it ended up being like, oh, this was so you don't have to like bust tables of your peers while you're in school. So I
Smart.
mostly didn't work, but then I did find some gigs. I worked at a cafe that gave out free coffee and free cookies to keep people from drinking on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights.
Wow.
It was sponsored by the Office of Religious Life. It was this little basement cafe, and I was ultimately fired from that because I wanted to go out on Friday,
I was gonna say, did you show
Saturday
up
night.
drunk?
I ended up like asking people to take my shifts a lot, which I
Uh-huh.
guess they resented me for, but weren't willing to say no to my face. So a
Mm.
survey was distributed where people were asked if they were bothered when I asked them to cover shifts, and
Wow.
sort of I was hurt by that, and so I did decide to not go into a shift that I knew would result in my firing, and so I did not go into that.
Wow. He
And then
staged it.
I was fired from another job at Princeton too. Well, not fired, but I joined Tiger Call, which is where we call all the alumni and ask them to make donations back to the school.
Okay.
And it
Oof.
can be it could be $1, it could be $100. They just want to like check off participation rates. And I did that for a year, and then I like didn't reply to some email, and I showed up the next year, and they were like, "Oh, we don't have a spot for you." I thought it was more flexible, but they're like, "Oh, you can stay for the orientation pizza, but we don't have a seat for you this year." Like,
They
oh,
gave
okay.
you the pizza. I love that you call him fired. You're such a good soul. Like, you're like, I was fired. I can imagine you being like, I'm not gonna. You're talking about it all week. I'm not gonna show up. I'm not gonna show up for the coffee shift. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go to a party and I'm gonna have a drink and I'm not gonna fucking hand out a cookie because they're doing this goddamn survey. Fuck these guys. I'm so bad now.
They were so. I look back at email. If you ever want to just like cringe for an hour, go back and look at your college emails.
Oh
Like I
God.
was so immature. I was like mad. I was saying that the boss was discriminating against me because she asked me to like fix the AV equipment or something. I was like, why do you think I have any specialty in this? Like, why? I was just not in tune with my own like emotions yet or ways of expressing myself.
Uh-huh.
So just, yeah, I feel like we should delete all emails
I
before like last year. Just
like
one big clean sweep, or
yeah,
before you turned 20, like delete
you shouldn't.
all internet presence.
Yeah. I had an AOL. That's how old I am. I had an AOL screen name or email, I guess, back then. I've never tried to sign into it, but it's probably still there, if you had one.
I had Hotmail and then I think jumped to Gmail by the time I went to college.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah,
now
I think I
everything is
had,
in Gmail.
but we had like a college email, right? You had obviously like .edu
Yeah,
or whatever it
right.
was.
But it
I,
forwarded to my Gmail.
mm.
Another fun game you can play is like email roulette. Type in like a really sensational word and see if it's ever been said. You can like unacceptable or outrageous. Go look at the last time you said unacceptable or I'm upset with you. It's a fun game you can play.
Wow. Is this part of the writing process for your novel? Because it sounds like a good exercise, just to get the brain going. Like, see, how bad was I when I
How
was
bad was I?
19?
It could be, and reading back old texts. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit let sleeping dogs lie, but yeah, maybe I should go back and I found a thing I did find was like an email my dad had sent me, which became like an important part of the book, and I forget how I
Really?
came across it. Yeah, but those like digital um, breadcrumbs or like no footprints that we leave can be good
Mm-hmm.
inspiration sometimes too.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I read if you ever had a live journal, I don't know if you've heard of
mhm.
live journal. It's exactly what it sounds like. It was a journal online, and like my high school theater like group was very into live journal, and so there are like 2 years where I wrote a lot of shit, and the
Oh my
first year of
God.
college, and it still exists. And I've read it. There's a show called Mortified. I don't know if you know it, in New York. It's a fun show. I don't know if I hope it's still
I've never done
going,
it.
but they had like a Netflix thing with Mortified, but I read parts of my live journal on it, and it's fun to read it on stage. It does well, because I was such a like obnoxious like teenager that just
Oh, you know everything, and all the feelings are at like 100. There's no
oh
nuance. There's no. It's every.
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't
wish I
miss it.
had that stress now. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, if I don't get Adelaide and fucking Guys and Dolls, I am going to kill myself. Like, that's the vibe of the live journal.
The stakes, everything, the stakes were so high
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
everything. Every tiny little, every day. I mean, some of that energy would be nice today, but dear God, thank God some of it isn't here, that we've
Yeah.
matured out of it.
You would like one I did where there's an entry that on the day I was rejected early decision from Northwestern University, I wrote about how I burned the letter in the fireplace.
Oh my God. That is queen shit. That is
And I wrote like
epic.
all this stuff. I'm like, Northwestern's gonna fucking wish they had my name on their alumni list. Their loss.
Yes.
Burn.
Oh my God.
Like who was I? Who were we? We were, especially if you're in theater, we were like, we are better than you.
Yes. I want to be her. Oh my God. I channel that next time, that energy.
You're right. I should just start burning my computer every time I get rejected from like a writing job or something.
I could burn some. I have things to burn. I could burn something.
Yeah, maybe we'll burn stuff, That would be so ceremonial. I feel
I did in last November buy a $1 clearance calendar from Staples that was the year 2020 in calendar form, and I took it to a friend's place and we burnt it into like barbecue, which felt very like it was I think like a Dallas it was some sports team that no one had any allegiance to, but it was $1 and it felt like maybe therapeutic.
Yeah.
But I'm all for burning things.
I am too. I think it's fun. I'm like, and dangerous, but it's fun. If I didn't live in an apartment, I probably would burn more, but it's a little dangerous here. What was I going to say? Okay. So you go to school, you find yourself, right? Did you do theater at Princeton? I mean, like, I'm sure they had like, plays and stuff, even though you weren't an acting major, right? Like, did you find your people there?
I did improv there for the first time. And so we do short form and some long form improv, got very into that. Did like a 2-person hour-long improv show my senior year. And I found a musical comedy troupe that would write original musical sketches and songs and put together like a show every year. And so I definitely found more than theater, found like, creating original stuff is possible for me. And being like, this could be a career. I didn't yet know what the career version of it looked like, but like, people are in Chicago doing improv. Like, I want to do that. And we like went on my improv troupe went on a tour every year to different schools, and we did improv shows. And I was like, I want to be in Chicago where people are like the mecca of long form improvisation. And so that's where that the nibble of creating my own original stuff for the stage rather than just the plays I was doing in high school started to take shape.
Nice. Did you move to Chicago after school?
I moved to Chicago.
Wow.
Did IO and Second City and by night, and then daytime was my first gig was I was a telemarketer, which is very humbling. Like I took my Princeton degree and 0 work experience and wound up at a theater selling theater subscriptions to people who'd come to one play. We'd call them up and try to convince them to spend $200.
You said you were good at guest services, like that's.
I loved it.
On the path.
People were always like surprised when I sold things because I would never force someone. I'd be like, this isn't for you. But when I did find someone who actually wanted the thing, I'd sell it. And I think I did fairly well until finally my dream of an office job arrived. I wanted nothing more than a salaried office job. Like,
really?
I thought it was so sexy. I wanted like benefits. And I wound up at the center on Halsted, which is an LGBT community center, the Midwest's largest one. And so that was a fascinating to go from Princeton, which skewed pretty straight, to working with mostly queer people. It was very helpful, I think, in terms of my like journey to be there and be surrounded by older lesbians and younger gay men and trans people.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So
and you got benefits and you got your dream of.
We got benefits.
Woo. That's perfect for you. That's like, I thought you were going to be like, and then I got this finance job or something.
No.
Tons of straight people, but what a good health insurance.
I did lose my way. And after like a year or two there, I was like, I want to make more money. And so I got into marketing and advertising, and that led to a dangerous path of climbing a ladder and investing too much energy.
Really?
Until I ultimately had to leave it in order to go full hog after my hopes and dreams.
Yeah. So you were still doing improv and stuff at night in Chicago and then working in marketing in the day?
Yeah. And I think it's sustainable when you're younger to sort of play that game. But then I transferred with a job to New York. And after a year here, I was like, I can't burn the candle at both ends anymore. I got to give this like a real go. I feel lucky. Some people, I mean, when I get my most bitter, it's when I think about like, oh, how some 21 or 22-year-olds have the runway to pursue the arts aggressively, whereas I had to sort of have that survival job. But I ended up accidentally building a whole career, but then I was able to save enough that I could take a leap with some wiggle room and sort of learn an art form, get good at stand-up, perform pretty regularly, write a bunch. And now I'm finally, I think, maybe breaking even. I don't know what the exact numbers are. But yeah, the taxes aren't fun.
I love that. I didn't know you transferred here I didn't know you had this whole like career in advertising before.
I know, it's such a weird thing that I did.
Did your coworkers know you were doing comedy at night? Like, or did you keep it?
I kept it pretty separate, and I wasn't funny at work either. And I think that was quite potentially draining. I didn't become friends with any coworkers. I wasn't funny at work.
That's the ticket we're learning. On our last episode, Maddie Smith, do you know Maddie? Maddie did an episode with us, and she was like, no one knew. If I opened my mouth, they're like, Maddie says funny things. She said no one knew how funny, like that I did jokes or anything. I'm like,
I had to keep it very separate because it would have drained me. But also when I got here, I was like a manager. So I had like people looking up to me, and I was like, someone who I interviewed said like, I Googled you, and they had found like a stand-up story was quite racy, and I was like, oh no, I can't have both of these careers. I can't be like a respected like marketing executive and have like an internet video about fucking myself with a replica mold of my own penis. Like the two are just not compatible in a long term. So
that's scary that you were interviewing someone and they're like, I Googled you.
Yes. It was this little gay boy trying to get into marketing. I mean, he did his research, I guess, but it made me be like, oh, I've gone full. I have to go full hog into this. Like, did I say that phrase already? I've never said that before. Full hog.
You have said it twice now. Honestly, I'm loving it. I'm picturing you just like, I'm getting on that fucking motorcycle and we're just driving into the wind.
Maybe this year is our full hog year.
It is. It's the go full hog or go home. That's what you gotta say. Well, that's great that you were able to save money and then do it. I am the same as you, where I have had to work a lot of jobs until I'm able to be like, okay, I think I can just do this full time. But it's scary. Some months are scarier than others, and you know, there is something. Oh, I do miss that, like benefits, health insurance. You know, all of that. It does, you know, exist out there. I mean, we have it, but it's different than when you're set up at a corporate job. It's a very different
100%
thing. But
I think the next time I'm in an office and get like a free cup of coffee, that'll feel it'll probably be very triggering at first.
Sure.
I'm actually a little worried that if I ever get staffed somewhere or do comedy in like an office environment, that I'll be like, oh God, this is like way too similar to what advertising was like. Like, it's actually not that different.
Right.
I built it up in my head.
Being in a writer's room will be different, you know. Because everyone comes from a different.
Back into old patterns. Like, I'll treat it like business rather than being funny.
Oh no, you've done this. You're too full hog in your comedy career to go back.
Full hog.
It's the name of his next book. Honestly, I'll take 10%. Okay, when you sell that book.
Full hog. That's the problem with selling books. Everyone takes a percentage. Everybody.
Yeah.
There's nothing left for you. Everybody wants a
That's
piece
the
of the
problem with
pie.
all jobs, all of our jobs in
I know.
comedy.
I know.
You know, but we do it for the art, just like you did in,
Amen,
in
sis.
high school. That's how you knew that's how I know you were going to be successful. You were like, I don't want the credit. I'm doing it for the art. Like, we don't do
That's
comedy shows
beautiful.
for fucking, $50, 2 drink tickets, whatever it comes out to, or whatever, like a lot
Right,
of
right, right.
shows are. You do it for the art.
We were even supposed to be on a show this past week that got canceled.
Oh,
I was like, I
yes.
can't wait to see you before
I
this.
know.
And then it was raining and it was a Sunday and it was late. And Omicron, I think people are rightfully spooked.
Yes. Yes. That is, yes, that is true. That is the show I did yesterday that, that I found information out of that someone tested positive, and now I'm
Oh, no.
paranoid. Yeah. It's all right. You'll come back and do it soon when everyone's healthy again, and hopefully, I don't know. All right. So you started doing comedy full time. How long has it been that you've been full time comedian?
I left the advertising job June of a year after I got here, June 2018. So it'll be 4 years in June.
Mm.
And it was very
Congrats.
hard at first. I remember journaling and crying, just like mourning how long I had put energy, how long I developed the muscles of money, 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 money.
Yeah.
And so recalibrating, leaving that level of income to like much closer to zero, or it just takes a minute to like process all that and develop new habits. And I'm still getting there in
Yeah.
terms of like, what does a day look like? Or I've been like applying to some or like submitting to things and talking to people who are staff places and just
Mm-hmm.
learning how much of their day goes to that. I'm trying now to be like, oh, while I don't have that, I should maybe be a little more aggressive with like writing new stuff for myself, or just make sure you're not squandering the blank days that you have now,
Yeah.
because at some point someone's going to be demanding 40, 50 hours of your week towards something else.
That's so real. I relate so much to that because I left a job. I worked at a venture capital firm, and that was when I started Unemployed Show. But like, yeah, you have to plan your day. It's like you miss it, but you're also, why you left, and you have to plan. You have to be able to like feel like you're working, even though, that's why I called it unemployed. Like I still today, she was so unemployed today, but like I did stuff too.
Right.
Doesn't pay right now, so it's hard to call it work. I don't know. It's a mind fuck always. And
I've started calling what I do work. And
yeah.
it can be a little strange when someone's like, oh, what are you up to tonight? I was like, oh, I've worked till this time or whatever.
Yeah.
Like a stand-up show is work. Writing is work.
Sure.
Our culture doesn't like elevate it if you're not like receiving money today for it. But like working on a spec script is work. And so calling it and treating it like work, that also makes space for rest, which I'm not great at.
Yeah.
Like intentional rest and not working every day. Like that's unhealthy.
Yeah, I try and make a weekend day, or like, be like Saturday, Sunday, like I'm not going to write, or I'm not going to.
Oh.
I try to do that for myself, just because like if you can pick one day, or even if there's a day you don't have a show that night, like just make it like that's your night off. Like you watch whatever you want, you eat whatever you want, you fucking make it your weekend. I always try and do that. I didn't always do that, but because I always felt like, well, I don't have anywhere to report if I don't work tonight, if I don't create something or make or shoot something or write something, like no one's gonna, a day wasted. Like it's hard to not feel that way. But I think as we get older, it's like, no, I'll be better if I take a night off or like a day off.
Has anyone ever compared you to Sarah Silverman?
Often, yes, my whole life.
Okay, I just got like a flash. I could like hear your voices. Maybe because her podcast is a similar setup. I was like, I just got intense Sarah Silverman energy from you.
Click the link in my bio to subscribe.
That is her! Oh my God.
That's I just did her funny. For a video, actually. I love her. I met her once, and I was like, people always think I look like you because I'm a brunette Jewish girl.
You do look like me. I don't know if I don't have a sister.
She was so beautiful in person. I was like, whoa, like, I'm honored that people have said that, because she was like striking. You know, you see her and she always is in her sweatshirt and her hair's up and whatever.
Right.
But I was like, yeah, because she's very beautiful.
The dirty little secret, all these comedians are hot AF.
Hot. Yeah. I think honestly now, don't you feel like you have to be, you have to love yourself enough to get photographed to do comedy? I mean, it's like bigger than the fucking comedy at some of these shows where it's like the photo versus, like, the other night I was like, I did a show and they're like, great. And here's our photographer. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about it. And now I'm like, oh, right, Anna, you have to go in a full face of makeup anytime you fucking show up to a stage. Like,
Right.
And we're videoing them. Wait, we have to talk about videoing comedy real quick, because you've gone viral lately. I mean, like, your stuff has been like blowing up, right? It's pretty awesome.
Oh, thank you. I've been trying to get serious about, I've always struggled with what to put online and what not to in terms of like clips or videos. But then I got introduced to a guy who like does editing and captioning, and I was like, maybe it's time, and it was affordable, and I was like, okay, maybe it's time to like outsource this, because it's really, I struggle with editing my own video and staring at my face for that long. So I'm like, oh, if I can give this to someone else and I can just focus on the jokes and the material, like, hell yeah, I'll post it. And I'm so grateful that people like shared stuff, because it's truly like bits I've been working on forever, and sometimes that even like I question if they're that funny. But then hearing, and also I've had a belief that like gay men don't like stand up, and so it's been nice that I was like, no, that's not true. Like, I've gotten lots of support from queer people, and I'm like flattered and excited, and I'm trying to make it like my job this year. Hey, I'm gonna post like 1 to 2 things per week, no matter how bad they're doing. I've been humbled now. I was like having these hits, and now it's like back to normal, or back to much smaller numbers. And so I'm like, oh, I want to keep making sure I'm putting myself out there and creating stuff, because it is like part of the game in the world now.
It is,
as I'm like building this. And so,
and I think it's cool that people who can't, who don't live here, can't, fucking come to a comedy club, like, they can see 100%. A bit you've been working on. There is something really cool about how that's becoming the norm. I don't know. I love it.
It's shifted my mindset a little, and maybe wrongly so, where I'm seeing like live shows as like clip studios, where like the real audience is like people who can't get to the show, and then you just have a live studio audience there laughing for you. And then hopefully that builds an audience you can tour to them, or they'll watch your special. It's just it's a brave new world, and I wasn't playing the game that aggressively for a while, and now I'm like, no, it's like time to. And it can be a little, when you look at stuff, it's a little like cringe, but I'm just like, oh, it's part of the job. Like, I'm gonna post this, even though this may not be my favorite joke. Okay.
I think it's great. And I think everyone, it's an opportunity to grow your career. I think it's really cool. Yep. That's my goal too. I've given myself a harder job. I'm posting every single day. So it's not always a stand-up clip, but it's something that I have to post every day. But
that's a good goal. Man, I think I have too much. I check it too much that would zap. Like, on days when I post, I check the video way too much. Sure, yeah. So I'm just figuring out that waste of creative energy. But also it's nice dopamine too.
It's a beast, I gotta say. All of it is. Even once a week is hard. It's not easy to fucking do that.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I gotta find out who your editor. I edit myself because I went to school for TV, and I edit. But I hate watching myself. I hate watching myself.
I figure like there's probably whole careers in editing. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. The thing is I go into my boyfriend and I'm like, can you watch this cut and like see if there's anything you can, because he edits too. Yep. He has a full-time job. So, being my PA is not his first choice, I'd say, but it's, part of the relationship now. So
that's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. Hopefully he'll stay around.
The same guy.
No, I'm sending you an Ellen. I'm going to be like, guys, what do you think of this first cut of this? Okay.
Looks great.
But it is, I was going to say to you, it is, you get obsessed. And I do feel like I get to a point where I'm like, Anna, stop, put your phone away and watch a fucking TV show. Like you get, it's so sucked in to like watch the comments and the views and this and that. But like, I think as long as you think it's funny, and I'm trying to live by this myself, as long as you think it's funny and it's something you're proud of, like just put it out. Just put it out.
Yeah.
Don't cater to them, right? Just put it out.
100%.
Even if it tanks.
100%. I think you're inspiring me too to like schedule how much time I check it too. Like,
Wow.
hey, post it and then give yourself like a half hour and then maybe later look at it. But like giving over the day to it, I think is an unhealthy thing I'm noticing I'm
just
doing.
Post before you have something. Like I love to post before bed
that's
because
smart.
you can't. And like stuff grows in, a day, a week. It doesn't grow right away. And so it's nice to post right before bed, or like, post if you're going to go do an hour workout or something, or you're going on a walk, leave your phone at home. Who would ever do that? But you know what I mean? Like
bed is dangerous though. I am finding myself waking up with my phone in my hand. And last night, I've never done this. I woke up at 5:30 and I was calling my mother and she was like, what? I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to do this. She's like, okay. And I'm like, whoa. I gotta like lock my phone up. I'm afraid I'm gonna like
and then
text
put your phone
all my exes.
Yeah, post and then put it, on a charger on a table and then go to bed. You know what I mean?
Like, right.
Yeah, that's scary. Although I'm just as bad. I decided I'm not allowed to go to sleep looking at social media because I think it
that's healthy.
I don't know, fucks with your head. So I shop online instead, but that's very unhealthy in another way. Like I've literally ordered men's sneakers twice. It's not a fucking good way to go to sleep, but because I'll be like size 7 and it comes and I'm like, what did I order? Oh no. Jared's like, why do you have a Foot Locker, men's Foot Locker box here?
Right.
I'm like, I couldn't tell you actually. I guess I clicked okay. I clicked buy. It's dangerous. Well, I'm glad that you did this. It's nice to see your face and catch up since our show is canceled.
Can we see you in person?
I know. I hope so. I hope very soon. If not at a comedy show, around the hood. Are you still in Brooklyn, right?
Yes, I moved down to Park Slope right before the pandemic.
Nice.
I'm not in Williamsburg anymore, though.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. I have a car now, so I go anywhere.
Ooh, diva.
I'm a diva now. Oh, God, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, having the car. But where can people find you, see your stand-up comedy clips, or catch you at a live show? Tell the people where they can find Zach.
Totally. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. My handle is at ZZ. That's ZZ, the word double, and then ZZ. And my website is zach-zimmerman.com. And I try to post my show schedules on there, zach-zimmerman.com/shows. And hopefully we'll have a book pre-order link this summer if people want to get my $16, $17 little book of essays. And you remember the title, and we'll say it in its entirety right now. Is that what you said?
Okay, great. Okay, ready? Can we say it together?
Oh, yeah. Let's say it together.
Okay. One,
two, three.
Is
it hot in here?
Is it hot in here, or am I going to
suffering for all
or am
eternity?
I suffering? Is it hot
for
in here,
the
or am I suffering for all eternity
committed
for
on
the
earth.
sins I committed on earth?
You got it. I should have trusted you. You're right. I was wrong.
Honestly, I would have just broken into Nelly, Is It Hot in Here? And that would have been it.
I feel like I'm going to be entering to that song all fall, in some capacity.
Yes. I love it. Well, thank you for being here. I love you. I think you're so funny and great, and I'm excited to see you grow even more in your career.
Let's go full hog 2022.
Full hog. I love it. I'm going full hog. Thank you. Bye. Zach Zimmerman, a joy, right? He's so sweet, so funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that he just decided to write a book without any deal in place. Just decided that's what he was going to do. That was wonderful.
Did it. He went for it. He's inspiring to me, and he's like really doing well in stand up. You know, in like New York City, he's performing a ton.
Yeah, I've seen his clips from stand up pop onto my Twitter feed recently. Actually,
super funny.
Yeah, super great. Yeah, love it.
Yeah. It's fun because I love that. You know what? It made me feel better about like putting out videos all the time. I'm like, oh, everyone's really trying to just put themselves out there because we have the opportunity to do that now. You know, it's not like you have like industry isn't coming to my fucking live stage comedy show. We're still in a pandemic. You know, I'd feel like awkward. And it's like a way to just be like, I'm here. I can write. I can perform. I got chops. Fucking.
Yeah. I'm excited to see your book, Anna.
Me too, Ellen. I gotta fucking sell the book. That is the 2022 goal. Sell the
The more that you talk about it and the more that you tell other people about it, I'm like, wow, this is...
I'm manifesting it. Yeah. I think the more I talk about it, the more it feels real to me. I will say it's not, the proposal is not at all like something I could show to anyone. Mostly just like, I want to get the recipe part down before I like have fun with it. Do you know what I mean? Like I want the science of it to be, because that's like hard. So I've still been testing recipes. I'm actually cooking 2 soups this week, but because I filmed some of them. Yeah. So that's its own project.
But the recipes are definitely a place to start, for sure. That's like...
For sure. Yeah, I have structure. A list. It's not going to be very long, too. I think you could cook your way through it in like a good 6 months. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
It's not going to be more than like... my goal, I mean, is like 30 soups.
No, that sounds like a lot to me.
I know. I was going to say 20, and then I'm like, who will buy a book of 20 soup recipes? But it is going to be more than just the recipe.
I feel like I always go back to like the same 3 soups. Yeah. So 30 soups is... it's going to open a lot of doors.
Once you, like, for any cookbook, don't you feel like, or like recipe, once you cook, even New York Times Cooking, like the app, once you cook a recipe you like, you'll save it and you go back to it. And then you'll alter it. You'll kind of turn it into like your version. Mm-hmm. Like that's really what my soups are. I'm not the first fucking person to make a chicken soup. I'm like the 40 billionth, but you know, it's your touch on it and it's your love. And I think that's kind of like, I don't know. That's what I'm going for. But because, you know, like my mom will be like, I always make this one dish. And I'm like, yeah, she does always make that one. She liked that recipe. So she makes it when she feels like it. Like you're not always inclined to do something new. Like I go back to the same workout because I'm like, I liked the music. I liked that video. I liked how I felt after.
Right.
I'm a creature of habit, Ellen. Okay. I'm so excited about this. For all of our listeners, you guys, we have this voicemail now. Okay, 2022, the year of the fucking voicemail. We're bringing it back. It's like 1997 meets 2022. We have this voicemail. You could be anonymous. You could say your full name and credit card number, whatever you want. But we're going to be playing them on air and responding to them. And I'm very excited. We got this one very recently. And he's like, oh, I don't know. Use it if you want. Don't use it. I loved it. I don't know who he is because it's anonymous, but God bless this voicemail. Ellen hasn't heard it, which I think will make for a funnier experience for all of you listening. So let's play this shit. Let's play it.
All right, here it goes.
Hey, Anna, huge fan of you and the podcast.
Love you. I already love you.
This is kind of not new gossip, but kind of is. So at one point, I was fired from a TV show because my boss thought that I stole a feathered cape that was very expensive. Yes, that's a feathered cape. It was a show about like drag queens and stuff. Anyways, I did not steal this feathered cape, but another department head was telling me that on a previous show, you might have to bleep it out, but it was on NBC, and it might have been she apparently, this woman that accused me of stealing a feathered cape stole so many things. She stole Apple laptops, like Viking range stoves and fridges. And apparently she stole this really expensive chandelier, and NBC came to audit them, and it was in her living room, and she had to send a PA to her apartment on a work day to remove the chandelier and like put it in a corner somewhere so the auditors could find it. And they're like, oh, here it is. Anyways, this story might not be that funny or interesting, but I just thought it was funny. Anyways, I hope y'all are having a good time. I'm gonna stop talking now. Bye.
First of all, thank you so much for calling in and
Thank you.
being so brave to admit what about this whole stealing thing. It honestly made me think, have I stolen from work? Yeah, I loved it.
I have absolutely stolen things from work. Nothing as big as a chandelier, but I love this hot goss. Thank you so much for sharing.
It's hot goss. Yeah, who fucking takes a chandelier? The balls.
A fridge too, like huge things like that. Yeah, like she bringing in movers. That sounds like a lot of effort. I
love that. I don't know who you are. Maybe I do know who you are. I don't know, but I love that. That they were accusing you of the feathered cape, like as if that's something you want in your wardrobe and your life.
Says a lot about your personality.
It really does. And it made me think, I would be friends with the person who stole the fucking feathered cape. I'd be like,
pretty badass. Yeah, you're going to steal anything, like a big ass feathered cape is the coolest thing to steal.
I think so. And like, wear it, wear it proud. If you stole a feathered cape, like, I'd be like, can I borrow it? Like, that's some Devil Wears Prada, like, wardrobe.
Fashion villain type energy going on. I really love that.
But I am fascinated by the chandelier because that does seem like, unless you're like, we're filming, because this is obviously like entertainment. We're filming something where we need a chandelier. I'm just going to borrow it. Like, I could see that being a way to get it out. But like, what a fucking weird thing to be like, let's just take this off the set, like bring it home. Yeah,
I don't know. There must have been some really lenient props department people, because whenever I've worked on set, they've always been like, don't touch that. That's like being returned or, you know, whatever. She must have been really friendly with the props people.
I'm trying to think. Have you stolen from, what's like the biggest thing you've ever stolen from a job? And this is a great question. If anybody else has stolen from work and they want to just let us know, don't tell us where you work. Don't tell us your fucking name, anything. I want to know what people steal from work. Aside from like pens, pencils. I mean, I used to print scripts every fucking day at my job. I'd stand over the printer like, 100-page script? Nope, not me. But I did it every day. I don't know if that counts as stealing. Ink. What did you steal? Did you steal anything that you can think of?
Me? Yeah, I could tell you some stuff that I took from a job, but I won't do it on air because I'm afraid somebody will hear it.
I used to steal
But this was many years ago, and it was like a very specific sort of situation where no one was keeping track of anything, and like the office was closing, so it was fine.
Wow. But my last office job, I didn't steal, but I negotiated in my severance package that I'm able to keep all electronics I was given at my job.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Smart, right? I was like, what am I going to do? This is my computer that I work on. Like, what?
I think that must happen a lot. I just don't think a lot of these places are organized enough to keep track of everything.
Well, they knew I was keeping it. But then months later, I'm like, what if they have like some sort of tracking device? Like, what if they can see all the bullshit I am doing on this computer?
Yeah, that's like the main reason why I don't really want like to work on a company computer anywhere. It's because I'm so paranoid about people just tracking everything. Like, I just don't want that. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're in a different time. People know how to track. It's a lot easier for people to figure that out than it used to be, 10 years ago, where they're like, I don't know what they're doing. I can't hack into their computer. Now you just like,
I don't want anyone to see how many times I'm going on Twitter every day. Come on.
I'd be fired if someone saw how many times I go on Twitter. They'd be one day I'd last, or 1 week. What a fun episode. Guys, please contact us. I love it. I love it so much. And if it's a really, really juicy story and you want to tell it live on air with us, like, by all means. So just email us at theunemployedteam@gmail.com or call us at Ellen, our phone number. I can get it. I can get it.
929-274-4837.
I should have had it up. I had it on the Instagram before. Okay.
Check out the socials. It's posted there, guys. You know.
Find us on social. Send us a DM. But remember, we usually have a guest on, so it's got to be a little bit of a shorter story. So keep it tight. Give me a tight 5. Give me the highlights of it. But I can't wait to hear from more of you and listen to all the other episodes. Honey, go and rate it, review it, give us 5 stars, and if you have a job for us. You know what? I'm pretty available these days. I will work for money. That's it. That's the episode. Okay, bye. I love you. Right now, I just want to take a moment to thank everybody who has supported our Patreon. This is your shout out right here from me. Tons of love. And if you haven't checked out our Patreon, all of our videos go up there. Sometimes I just write fun things because I feel like it. And it's just a really nice way to support us at Unemployed and, so we can keep this thing going. We do it for nothing. We do it for fun. We do it for you to listen to. So definitely check out the Patreon. And right now, huge shout out to our patrons, Bill Horton, Chi of Steele, Danielle McCartney, Lori Jackson, Jeannie Logan. We got Joe Galati, Chris Arneson, Jordan Lucero, Oscar Yuen, Ken Levin, and Vic Terry. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much it means to us, and I appreciate you, and I see you, and I love you.